Hey, I'm Happy.
And I am Adam Willis.
And you're listening to the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. Leaping forward bionically, yo, I'm gonna work out a solid freestyle session. You just bust out.
Mic check.
Yeah. Yo, Adam, take it. Nah, it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Geek Down here on WEMF. I am Happy. Over there choking on his lines. I'm looking at
Come on, Rabbit! Come on, Rabbit!
And my homeboy DJ Freshy Fresh. Talking about, of course, I'm talking about Black Adam Willis.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Pat? Man, you look a little down today. I'm worried about you.
Me too, man.
We
We all
worried
worried
about
about
you. I'm a little worried about you. I'm not gonna, divulge your personal business. But I'm hoping you're all right, man.
Our fearless leader, man. We worried about you, man.
I mean, you know what? Cats have bad days and good days, and bad days and worse days, and some
Mm.
bad days and days where you kind of want to take out everybody in the room.
Johnny.
Yeah,
What's the door, Johnny?
Sorry.
Yeah, but you know what, man? This is just one of those where it's just like, I kind of need to isolate myself from the world, and that would have been the proper thing to do, except I had a show to put on.
It's a good thing you have
Dedication.
broadcast live all over the world. Yeah, everyone's due, man. I hear you. Everyone is due for one of these battles. I'm sorry it's happened to you, though.
That's okay, man. Diagnosed with a preface, so you know what are you gonna do? So, ladies and gentlemen, in the house, of course, across the table, my man Jay and the Priest.
Peace, man. Glad to be here. It's just awesome to be with y'all today, man. Love it, as always. 2 weeks in a row, son.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Right around the holidays, too.
For real, this is supposed to be the busiest time of the year.
Well, we obviously brought you back just so you could bless the meal. And I
this meal, PBR.
The vegan cookies are usually
That's right. Hey, that's
The PBR sets from 2 shows ago with this crappy eggnog latte I got.
Amen. All right. All right. Of course, the man looking very technical and fiddling with dials and all types of stuff, looking very official and proper. I'm talking, of course, about just Johnny.
Yep.
That guy right there. How you doing?
I'm causing problems all over the place. It's great.
Yeah.
Constant troublemaker.
There's chaos everywhere.
Nobody forget the name.
It's what I like to bathe in every night.
You bathe in trouble?
Yeah, trouble in blood.
Hey,
It helps keep the youthful complexion.
Pores clean, yeah.
No comment, because I want to say yes, you do look.
You have enough problems.
Well, God, what you mean I look young? Staggy stabber, they spoke on the way out. Glad you're on our side, that's what I'm going to say. Of course, I look to the booth. Man, DJ Herbie Herb.
Sending all great vibes to you, bro.
I appreciate it. I like that about W.
Yeah, man.
Down. Yo, cats are down. People have your back.
That's right.
What's up?
Ow.
And then when you're not looking, they give you the finger. I saw you last week. I watched the Twitch stream.
I'll order you an Uber sometime.
No Uber can sit and spin. I like them all. Anyways, to anyone who's watching us, or who's watching us as opposed to hearing us, we are broadcasting live on Twitch. And to those that aren't, you can check us out at twitch.tv/thegeekdown. Or you can also hear us on WEMFradio.com. Well, live. You want to do that precarious thing? You know, Johnny's playing like Batman in the background. It's a little dark.
Hey, you got to, because the joint's dark. I mean, I'm looking at it like, it's wicked dark.
Oh,
So Johnny trying to make it happen. Look at his dedication.
Yo, there was a lamp in the next room we can bring in with several of this like that defiance going on. This man, anyone who's not watching,
That should be a huge
is
improvement.
standing over.
Oh, yeah, for him, absolutely huge improvement for him.
Or maybe just next time a little plan.
Well, I can't be like Count Blackula over here in the corner, just like, we have a great
It's getting blacker. It's getting darker and blacker.
Like, what do we have on the horn tonight? Tonight we have what? Oh God, no! Why do you say that?
I can't allow that.
The darkness, everybody, darkness.
That's what I do. I do it solely to make Herb uncomfortable.
I'm there.
All right. No, we do have a special show for you. Got news we're gonna jump into. I gotta get through some of this stuff, man. It's not all good. 2016 strikes again. Jumping right into it. Florence Henderson, the latest victim of this annual curse we got going on here. But Florence Henderson, anyone who doesn't know, was the matriarch on the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Classic.
So if you don't know her, obviously you're very young.
That's awesome. Yeah. But I mean, those shows syndicated forever. Yeah.
I'm saying that's why everyone should know.
Yes.
I mean, it's either Florence Henderson or old girl who played Alice. Like, those are people you really need to know. Everybody else is kind of like,
Lee Davis, yeah.
There we go.
Florence Henderson, the original Boner Inspiration, And Pete Davis.
Yeah, for real.
Stop.
All right, no, Florence Henderson was, dude, that was just like the classic MILF.
Yeah.
Growing up, there was.
Were you a fan of the bunch?
And I mean that in all due respect.
Like R.I.P. No disrespect.
R.I.P. Classic.
You were a fan of the bunch though?
I was, dude.
Yeah.
And the thing
Really?
is, what,
Oh, the
dude?
bunch?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And, okay, and I didn't get into like the music and stuff. I'm talking like as a sitcom, and you know, and
I think the music's more
display of,
Partridge Family, wasn't it? Didn't they have the band?
Nah, you gotta keep on. You know, you can't remix that.
You know what? You know what was a very underrated '90s movie? It was the Brady Bunch movie.
I actually saw it.
Wait,
It was
That's
very,
hard.
very, very self-aware of like how tacky it was, and it was trying to do so like it put the Brady Bunch with the corny songs and like the '70s gear, and they put it in like grunge Seattle in the '90s.
Yep.
With like the flannel,
The flannel, the
waist
waist
and all that
and
stuff, and like
Collective Soul.
yeah,
sort of look.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It drops them right into that, and it's just so funny.
It was hilarious.
It was a really good movie. Like I said, very self-aware. It was in on the joke, and it had a good time. It was like kind of like a 21 Jump Street before, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
Relaunching a movie about a show, but like
I think there was cameos in that too.
yeah,
Yep. Florence Henderson in that. She did cameo.
I think so. I want to say yeah, but I can't be 100% sure.
I can't. I mean, I
I
know
know
I've seen it.
the Alice.
Alice.
That actress played Alice on the original.
And
Bunch,
we
wasn't
did.
it? She was the she was the truck driver.
Nobody wore those hospital shoes.
Yeah. It looks like
And that apron.
that movie. There's like had like 10 pounds of red meat. He's like, "You're still giving him red meat?" He's like, "Of course I am. I have a growing family. That's important." It's like, it's so weird.
I missed that. That's a happy memory for me. You know, this takes me back. And the whole thing was, these are the shows we grew up with when we were young. So they're gonna have an effect on you because it's what you saw before we got jaded, before we got bitter, before we got like, well, that's a cornball stuff. We'll flip to what Beavis and
Before
Butthead
the golden age of television we're allegedly living in now, but there's so much TV. Everyone's pulled in different ways. I'm sure you guys get the same stuff too, where it's just like, oh, you gotta watch this show. Every day I get that from about 15 people.
Me too.
There's
gotta
so
check
much
this out.
TV.
I'm like, I gotta
There's
like,
so
bro.
much TV out there. Yeah, it's like I can't watch like 6 seasons of TV. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
the thing, they throw it
that
all
fast.
at you at once. It's just
Right.
like if one more month
yeah.
recommends My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. I'm a grown ass man.
It's not
All right,
different
I'm
crowd.
sitting there. No, you gotta understand the
You're a bro. You ain't a brony.
relationship between
You ain't a brony.
Nah,
No.
you don't get her.
I'm asking. I'm not. I'm just asking.
I'm telling you, don't throw a creature out the window. No, I'm not a brony. I respect anyone's right to their entertainment they enjoy, but don't try to like force it on other people, man.
Right.
Gotcha.
All right, but that has nothing to do with Florence Henderson. She actually did a lot of stuff outside of the Brady Bunch. Not all was stellar. I'm like one thing.
Who can say that?
stands
Nobody's
out.
career.
Yeah, for real.
No, David Hasselhoff somehow made even the bad things extra special because of his involvement.
Yeah, the Hobbs.
Yeah. I mean, video.
I know how you
the
feel
firm
about it.
became popular. Oh, man, those. It's just that.
What else? What
so
else
yeah.
did she do that was big?
Well, nothing big. That's the thing. People know her from the Brady Bunch and from doing these side roles and guest roles, and then Brady Bunch spin-offs.
Yeah, I
You know,
think anything
all
bigger
those
than a bunch
movies.
too. That show was huge.
It was.
That show was like a deal with the devil.
Yeah, it really was, man. I'm not gonna front. I wasn't a fan of the bunch. I never cared. I might have watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes of the bunch, but I can't front. It was everywhere. I mean, it was lightning in a bottle, man. Like just the whole. I mean, the concept is hokey as all hell when you think about it, but like 3 boys and 3 girls, and they're all blonde-headed girls and all brown-headed boys. And you just gotta scratch your head.
Tacky
Really,
music, yeah.
tacky music with, like you said, with Alice rocking the apron and the
You know
hospital
the,
shoes. You know?
When I heard the story
I
too,
was
I
bending
forget
over
the
that stove, man.
I forget
Oh,
the actor.
You got the roast? Yeah, go ahead, basically.
You a mess.
I forget the actor who played the father, but I guess he was like the story I hear is he was like a classically trained actor, you know what I mean, of stage and screen, and he was like so overqualified for that role that was just so like narrow in scope, you know what I mean. He had to be this one guy, but he was like, I gotta pay the bills, so like he lived his whole life basically, and that's the role he's known for. But at the same time, he should be reading Shakespeare on a stage somewhere,
Like he's also
being highly respected, but this is what he got.
Like he's also with Kenneth Branagh, you know, just like this dude,
Right.
like this dude's
Right.
like legit
Yeah.
And you're known
And
as
you direct-
Dad Brady.
You direct Thor, you know.
It's a double-edged sword because you achieve that level of fame that you want as an actor, but you're not going for you're not getting it for the Shakespearean, role.
Well, I
You're not
just
playing the
picture
king
like
or- You're not Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, I picture
You
the
know,
pretentious actor like sitting there, like I should be somewhere else reading Beckett, you know.
Well, not even the least. The most I can say for that is this was a paying acting gig when even with all that training, Cat still had student loans to pay back, just like all of us. And the role they take the role that offers them. That's why a lot of the just to touch on classic porn, 70s porn real quick. A lot of those people
Just
back when they did
the transition here, go ahead, B.
Well, no, this is part of it's along the same lines, just because went back when they did film and stuff and had scripts. Those were actors who couldn't get work and got desperate enough to figure any acting paycheck is an acting paycheck.
Yeah.
Even if I'm going
You're still
all this
doing
way.
something.
I mean, he's still got a line credit. I can see that.
So this dude, this was a role that got him paid without having to take his pants off.
So he could have been Dirk Diggler or Daddy Brady, but he chose Daddy Brady.
Chess Rockwell.
Yeah. And which one is alive today? Damn, I didn't mean to say that because the story
back to the passed away actress we're talking about.
Yeah, the story we're talking about is Florence Henderson, the actress who played the iconic Carol Brady on the 1970s, 1960s to 70s sitcom, The Brady Bunch, passed away just recently. Now, she played this in the initial TV run, like I mentioned, and in all the spin-offs. So when they started recasting people, she was one of the ones that maintained throughout the whole series. And
was it Shelley Long that did the movie?
Yeah.
She didn't do much after Cheers too. She did the Money Pit. She did the Money Pit.
Yeah.
With Tom Hanks, and then she did something else that was like horrible.
There was someone with Larry Miller where she operated a sperm bank. I saw it on the TNA matinee. That's the level of prestige we're talking here.
TNA matinee.
Alright, but no, most recently Florence Henderson was seen on Dancing with the Stars.
Really? I didn't know that. I guess I'm not paying attention.
Well, a couple times. She was on in 2010, but Maureen McCormick, who played her daughter on The Brady Bunch, was on just recently, just this past season. And Henderson appeared there to support her. So she's like people have
seen
her. She was in a Smash Mouth video, which isn't like high praise, but they did a making of documentary.
Which one?
Oh, I don't know. It's the one where they're sitting in a motel, and for some reason the lead singer, is like kicking indoors, and inside each one there's like a weird thing. He kicks in one door. There's Florence Henderson dressed as a nun with some dude on a leash, and the dude's like trying to feed a goat or something like that. Man, they look like Instagram.
Late '90s stuff was weird, bro.
This was like 2005 or something.
Who was this again?
Really?
Florence Henderson.
No, what the video was again?
Oh, Smash Mouth.
Which one?
I don't know the song. I'm not a Smash Mouth fan. I remember the.
Well, actually, I am. Forget you.
Sorry, brother. No.
I like Smash Mouth.
Yeah, no account for
I don't know who it was. Hey,
but it's in the video. They're in a motel.
Okay.
All right, and the dude's going into
this
motel room.
This will Google's a full.
Florence Henderson. Yeah. Look it up and embarrass. All right, so
go ahead.
Henderson was survived by 4 kids and 5 grandchildren. Now she suffered heart failure actually on Thanksgiving Day. That's one of the saddest.
Wow, damn.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's sad.
Well, she was surrounded by family and friends.
Yeah, but not in like a.
That's
a bummer, man.
There's no silver lining here. The only thing we can say is at the very least, she wasn't alone.
You're right.
And,
I guess.
And people that loved her were able to say goodbye.
Yeah, man. That's like just picturing, you know what I mean, like how that holiday is gonna mean for everybody for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Just seeing stuff
James
like
Brown
that.
passed away on Christmas Day.
What was that?
James Brown passed away on Christmas
Right.
Day.
That was a sad Christmas, boy. Sad Christmas.
So we're not out of the woods yet. So Florence Henderson was 82 years old. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
And probably more well known to our geek audiences, Emmy-nominated actor Ron Glass, known for playing, known for roles in Barney Miller, known for roles most recently on Firefly, passed away at age 71.
Yeah, definitely known for Barney Miller. He was in close to 200 episodes of that show.
Yeah.
It was on one. But He did a lot of TV work too.
Ton of TV work.
So
He was
like
one
kind of
of
like
those-
just bit parts of like the one-off episode things. You know, you saw like he was on like Friends. You know what I mean? As like a doctor or something like that.
You know, safe black
He
guy.
did a lot of
He was
So you get a lot of
safe
like
black guy. You said
Safe black guy. Yeah.
he was safe black guy. He was like
I mean, not Robert, it was what it was. He was safe black guy.
he had that voice. I didn't know his name was Ron. I assumed it was Trevor. And yeah, seriously. And you know what? I always thought this dude was corny, and then I saw him in Shirley Book, and I'm like, okay, not everything he does comes across that way. But I think because they cast him on sitcoms like Amen, where he's the guy looking to take on, I'm going to close down the church and open up.
Yes.
And they'd be like the Jeffersons, I'm going to close down the dry cleaner and open up Fresh Prince. I'm gonna disbar your uncle and make him a dry cleaner. I don't know what he's doing. But either way,
He's consistent through his career.
he would play the
Antagonist black guy who's gonna ruin everybody's fun.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
it
man.
brought
That's
in
who he
like
was.
the contrived character to bring in to cause conflict and you'll never see him again. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he was
Family grows closer together after the conflict.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird because I saw those. Well, I mean, being of the generation I was, I saw those before going back and watching episodes of Barney Miller on TV Land.
See, I
And
never
I'm like,
watched
yo,
Barney Miller either.
You know what, Barney? I watched Barney. Doom, 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 boom. It was like the funkiest theme song for the whitest show ever.
It should have been like the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
but
So
no.
it was a blackest theme song.
Yeah, yo,
For the white show.
it
For the white show.
was Infidence on saxophone,
Yes.
and then the Partridge Family comes on. So it's like the most random, like you never expect it because Barney Miller's about it's a station full of white cops who are basically more concerned with their own private lives. Some of them have like alternate careers and they're cops, just like some people have like delivery jobs while they pursue acting.
I like
stuff that,
the old shows based on like jobs, like like Taxi. You
Taxi.
know what I mean? It's just like we're all just hanging around one area. It's
Night
a
court,
Taxi.
because we're at court.
Yeah,
you know?
Night court
Nice.
like this.
Barney Miller was one of
with
those.
With the cops, yeah.
And I saw and I
Night
knew
Court
Ron
was fun,
Glass. I knew Ron Glass as this dude who couldn't give a black man a break. On 227, I'm closing down the apartment buildings to open up a mini mall or something. And because Brenda didn't do her homework.
Was he the restaurant manager when the old girl couldn't do the math? Where register broke? Was that him? You know that episode?
No, on Family Matters, he was the one that came. I'm closing down on Rachel's restaurant.
Unless Aunt Rachel gives me a date.
Did you ever see the Key and Peele the skit they do on Family Matters?
No,
One of them-
I need
Wait,
to see that.
with
He pretends to be
Urkel.
Vel Johnson.
Original Vel Johnson.
Yeah, he pretends to be.
Mm.
I did more coke than you weigh, mother. It's so.
I need to check that
I'm
out.
a serious actor.
That was kind of raw. That one took like
We're supposed to be like a
a training day turn.
like a blue collar
Urkel.
Cosby show.
Because
Yeah.
like Urkel was like, gee, cheese, and once the camera went off, man, didn't I tell you? Don't fuck with me.
Yeah, no, but he's got like mind control. Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
all
he's like, I
I
want you to know who runs this.
yeah. We
Damn,
can't stop the machine.
Puts the wrong kind of spin
Urkel-mania's
on
taking
it.
over. Yeah, it's fun.
I need
All
to
right,
see
well,
that.
Ron Glass's credits. Oh, sorry, Johnny. Ron Glass's credits cover numerous television shows and films, and you mentioned he was on Friends. He was on Star Trek Voyager, Designing Women. More recently, episodes of CSI, Original Recipe CSI, Agents of Shield. Which you watch Agents of Shield? I watch
No.
Agents. Okay, Agents of Shield is picked up.
It's one of those things, you know what I mean? You watch it and you
I
should.
heard it was awesome.
It got awesome.
It's in the
it didn't
queue,
start
but-
out that way. So just a heads up.
Fair enough.
But,
I mean, I'm probably not gonna go back and watch. I'm not gonna lie.
well, Glass. No, it's okay, man. It's it's one of those things. You caught the wave, but you just gotta let it go.
I'm not gonna let it.
Yep. But Glass was on there. He brought his flavor to it, and he did find a loyal audience playing. Now I did get down the full name, Daryl Book. I watched every episode of Firefly. I've seen Serenity more times than I can count. I don't ever recall hearing this dude's first name. So that's some stuff. These cats went like the expanded universe novelizations for this. But Daryl Book, the spiritual shepherd with a cloudy past, in the 2002 2002 sci-fi series, Firefly, and then later on the movie Serenity. So he passed away. According to his agent, it was respiratory failure. So he passed away just after Thanksgiving
It's a tough way to do it.
at his home in L.A. So he was 71 years old. Rest in peace, sir.
R.I.P.
Mm-hmm. All right, now We have one more news story. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we're kind of I don't want to shortchange our reviews.
No.
But this one just kind of needs to Anthony Michael Hall. No.
No, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Michael. Yeah, that's
He's
funny. This
Anthony
guy.
Michael Hall of National Lampoon's Vacation fame.
One of Mike Tyson's
Yeah.
closest friends, apparently.
No.
Yeah, what else?
Random. Mike Tyson credits him to helping
Yeah.
him become a star,
But he
help
was-
him work his way through as a young actor, as a young champion, because Michael Hall was huge. Michael Hall's like a year older than Tyson.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, man, you know, he's one guy who I credit would help me try to learn initially how to deal with the fame.
Well, that's
And of
not-
course, when their friendship kind of went different ways, because, you know, Mike blew up as a boxer.
Yeah.
Michael Hall just kind of, you know, veered off into whatever he was doing at the time.
No, I can
They
understand
kind
that
of
if
split off,
if
but
he
in
had
the beginning,
actors,
that was like his man.
Anthony Michael Hall had some trouble when because he was typecast. He was the geek. He was
He
in all
was.
John Hughes movies. He was the
Some.
geek, and then all of a sudden he like gained a bunch of weight. And
Yeah,
people accused
he
him of
did.
doing steroids. He did that movie Johnny Be Good.
I was just
Do you
I was
remember?
thinking,
Yeah. And Downey Jr. was in that as well, and he was like the
People
football
forget we
jock
saw this
star.
dude before
Yup.
puberty. That's a thing that happened. You tease up.
And so he got
Child
that's,
actors,
and that's what
man.
he says. He's like, I'm not on steroids. I gained weight and went through puberty. I got older. I was the guy. So he got and then his career kind of veered off. Obviously,
Yeah.
he wasn't
He's associated with Mike
that
Tyson.
guy
man.
anymore,
He probably
yeah.
acted as a speech
Yeah,
therapist.
he
and
got-
folks were like, "Nah, we don't want no part of it."
he got involved. So yeah, and here's a story of him. He assaulted his neighbor,
His
right?
neighbor, yeah. The story we're talking about is Anthony Michael Hall, former SNL star, former star of TV shows such as The Dead Zone, which actually was a good show.
Mhm.
You know,
Not a bad movie too.
and several classic '80s movies, a few '90s movies.
He did. I remember
more or less
one of the last
classic.
things I saw him in was like Freddy Got Fingered. You remember that? Yeah, he was the.
Yes.
He was the guy. He was the guy in
suit
the. He was the guy in the horse costume that got the hand job. Is that what's going on?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that movie's ridiculous.
Of
dude.
course
You-
it is.
you-
Yeah,
you-
but he was in it.
That
you reminded
hammered
us.
Tom Green into like the minds of an entire generation.
Man, that's a daggone shame.
It
You know,
is,
you know
isn't
what's
it?
messed up? Why is he like one of the most intelligent, politically minded dudes I've ever heard interviewed? Because it's like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this interview with Tom Green. He's gonna talk about why he's sucking on the cows that are in a china shop, and then he's like, and so really the political system of Canada really took a downturn when the prime minister was like, what the what
Yeah.
who huh? And it was the same dude, and I'm like, how do you go from this like intelligent dude like Ben Stein
there's
level
a lot
of
of
political
a lot of
knowledge?
people like that. Like Bobcat Goldthwait is not like all the time. You know what I mean? He was-
Oh, yeah, but this is a guy known for like eating mealworms
listen,
and wearing
man.
tutus
Right.
on camera.
I mean, yo, listen, Asia Carrera's in Mensa.
Mm.
Raven,
Yes.
the wrestler, is in Mensa.
I love
so
both
these
of
people,
those
both of these people are geniuses. You got a pro wrestler
Mm.
and a retired porn star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who are clearly geniuses. So I'm not surprised about
Yeah,
Tom
you
Green
know.
whatsoever.
Gotta make a living, right?
Absolutely.
But that's still some hardcore left
Being smart don't
field
pay.
stuff.
All, yeah.
Yeah, for real.
You know what? Y'all are right, and I just realized the irony that I'm like, I can't believe this when I just like 5 minutes ago was talking about how actors did things just to generally survive as actors, and now I'm chastising this dude. Y'all
I
are.
love how you self-regulated yourself on that
There
one.
you
Thanks,
go.
P.
I have to, man. But
Lead
So
by
the-
example.
So the story of this too.
All
So
right.
he got.
Anthony Michael Hall, yeah, I'm sorry, I keep cutting it off. Anthony Michael Hall is reportedly facing up to 7 years in prison after being charged with felony battery. Now,
Seems a
the
little
Breakfast Club
steep.
actor,
It is.
well, I mean, stuff happens, but this dude, he allegedly broke his neighbor's wrist and injured his back during a heated altercation
Hey, he whipped his
outside
ass,
their
then.
condo.
That's
Oh,
a
no,
fight.
He roughed him up.
That's a fight.
Well,
Like,
that's those steroids
Man,
at
Anthony
work, right?
Michael Hall whooped my ass. Like, come on, man. I'm
7
not
years,
telling
bro.
anybody
Yeah.
about that.
I'm really not. The dude from
Well-
Weird Science beat me up.
Yeah.
I'm good.
He had a bra on his head and stuff. Yeah, I'm not.
You see that guy with the
I'm
bra on
not.
his head? He
Yeah.
whooped me, broke my
Well,
back
hey,
and my
hey,
wrist.
hey, man, he handled those the mutants proper.
Plus,
okay?
you know,
they
he
broke
probably
up his
doesn't-
party. He said, "You take your stank ass friends and get out of here. You can stay." He's like, you can leave, or whack, gun in the face. You can stay and die. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to mess with skinny dude. You know, curly blonde hair kid. He gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that the neighbor probably didn't need any money either because he's his neighbor. I'm sure it's a pretty nice
in
neighborhood.
like
you know
in
what
like
I
a
mean?
Hollywood
Downtown,
condo.
Yeah, so I
well-
don't know, man. I'm just gonna leave that right there.
Well, no, dig this.
Finish the story. This is hilarious.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
At the time, the neighbor claimed Anthony Michael Hall was ripping up plants in the common area of the apartment complex.
Charlie Murphy and the whole.
And when confronted to stop, Hall allegedly responded with an obscenity and then challenged the man to a fight. The neighbor declined, and then Hall proceeded to beat the holy hell out.
I gave you an option to fight back.
The cops were subsequently called.
I can just see Hall saying, "Come at me, bro! Come at me, bro!"
Got these plants. Like stomping them out. Too. Oh my god.
With his snakeskin boots.
Was he at it? He was like in his house too. He's like at the neighbor's house ripping his plants
No,
out.
no,
like,
but the
having a
common
bad
area.
day.
So how do you come up with the first of all,
I
what
just don't
possesses
get
you
it.
to just roll up in like your building's courtyard? So, you know,
Ripping
forget
places.
these azaleas. How
Yeah.
dare you plant
Right?
these?
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
for me is what causes you to think you have the right to stop somebody from doing that.
Mm.
I'm just saying, if I live in this common area and I see you tearing it up, I'm like, you know what? Apparently, Pat got something going on. I'm turning back going to my apartment. I'm going to stop you from destroying the common area. That's
I
not
think
my
maybe
call.
they both were wrong a little bit. Maybe.
No, here we have one of a put upon actor just expressing his privilege, and then suddenly, I don't know what caused this. What
Probably like
sparked this.
seriously into horticulture and like gardening, and it was just like properly like layout. You know what I mean? It was so he
I'm
was just
reminded of
There's
an
some
episode
weeds
of
there.
moving
He was a little
around. Little do
frustrated.
you know, he took it really seriously.
I'm reminded of an episode of Will and Grace where they tried to plant some tomatoes and stuff in a community garden, and for no reason at all, this dude who's like the next plot over is really hardcore about his quote unquote prize winning lettuce to the point where don't have your ugly gnome blocking the light of my prize winning lettuce. Like, who there for you, man? Someone gonna get. And that's when I think Hall may have snapped.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
He
I love
probably.
your Will and Grace references too when they happen.
Thank you
They
very
happen,
much.
yeah.
It's what I do. It's the least I can do as a black man representing,
Right.
for Will and Grace.
Yeah.
Blackest sitcom ever.
It's perfect.
I think
Every time I think of Willow Grace, I always think of freaking Clayton Bigsby. I'm sorry.
Clayton Bigsby.
But he
Oh,
goes-
wait. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the exact line.
I got it, brother.
He said, if you don't like Will and Grace, let it out. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with Will.
What?
Dave Chappelle's a clown. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no.
It just
The
came out of left field.
No, it's okay. The lovable hatred of Clayton Bigsby aside, Anthony Michael Hall is now facing up to 7 years in prison. You may be thinking 7 years is a little extreme for a simple assault and battery charge. Well, it is. There's some other factors that they're keeping private from the public. So I'm thinking maybe
pistol
this,
whipped him or something.
yeah, something like that, or he was on a substance
Yeah.
and things, and maybe like a PR level would allow them to block that, but not the actual ass whooping. So
I'm just saying, and around the way, man, you fight. You take your butt whooping like a man, keep it trucking.
Yeah.
Like for you to be like, oh, he hurt me, my back hurt, my wrist hurt. I mean,
you mean he was like, ow, my back, my neck, and my neck.
Yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall, why? I'm suing. Michael Hall was like, no, hey, if you don't pluck this geranium, we have a problem. This is not an option. All right,
he should just walked away, but he said he challenged you to a fight. I'm like, nope. I rolled out. I mean, especially if he's Diesel.
No.
Which I'll say he
I
is.
feel like what happened was he challenged him to a fight. You're like, all right, sure, Rusty, what you gonna do? and then he caught them hands, yo.
Yeah.
It was a bad situation from beginning to end. He forgot about Dre apparently. Forgot about Hall. All right, I got no more references, yo. But Anthony Michael Hall facing serious jail time. Read up on the story, cause man, I want to know where this goes for real. All right, so we've spent far too much time on that. I got to check out a comic entitled Androids, newly released. Actually, that made no sense. But newly released sci-fi book set in the distant future, where apparently mankind can no longer reproduce. Disease has been eliminated. Aging has been eliminated, but that's been eliminated by necessity because mankind has been rendered infertile. So people can't have babies anymore. People can't reproduce. People are getting down left and right, but all disease is gone, consequences gone. But also, generally, it's one generation that has existed for 500 some odd years. Dude, it's an interesting concept. I come to find the book itself is more about like interpersonal politics, not just among people that are tired of living, and among the AIs, the sentient intelligences that people have injected into society to help. So we're at a point in society where we have the robot servants, we have the the android sidekicks and things we always wanted, but they're also sentient beings, and they're like, yeah, you made us, thanks, that was a long time ago. We don't like you now. All right, you humans are kind of dicks. We do our own thing, And there's that. And there's like still crime, there's a finite number of people on the planet now. Everyone's sustaining themselves with these pills, and people still get killed. People still steal. People still like rip stuff off because just because folks live longer now and quality of life improves doesn't mean you can necessarily change human nature. That was a really interesting point of view the book took. And I mean, I kind of expected it from the description, but I like the way they played it out in the story.
Mhm.
You know, I would really like to see more set in this universe. I'd really
Yeah.
like to read more by this author. It wasn't the greatest book I ever read, but mostly because I've read a lot of sci-fi and a lot of futuristic stuff, retro-futuristic stuff even, and I enjoy different types. And this was mostly a straightforward story that was just well written. You know, this didn't throw me any odd curves, and there wasn't any particular genres that I personally find specifically like, you know, extra interesting.
Mhm.
But this was a good read. It was the artwork was beautiful. Like this was on some. Do you remember the not Hunter Thompson? Damn it, who did Total Recall?
Who directed it?
Yeah.
Verhoeven.
Okay, thank you, Paul Verhoeven. Do you remember we did that piece on when they released his original designs
Yeah.
for Total Recall?
Yeah,
It was on
yeah,
that
yeah.
level where like it's
Oh, wow.
set in the future, and these futuristic buildings aren't like we'd think. Oh, it's like a regular office building. It's these huge pyramid style, cavernous, you know, beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful artwork, and a little busy for this kind of book because the story's complex and the art's complex,
So it's a
and one of
little,
those should have been simplified
yeah,
to make it
okay.
easier to process.
Yeah, a little bit too much for you. A little
Yeah.
convoluted. Sounds
A
like.
little bit, but you know what? That didn't ruin it for me. That just made me have to focus a little more, which in
Or
itself,
reread it. You know, every once in a while, like go back and check out a few pages again.
I might do that just because I brought up a picture here. I don't know if the camera can see that. Probably not. I think it's too small on my phone.
Yeah, it's definitely. Small.
But but like a lot of just like really beautiful.
I'll take a look
visuals.
though. When you pass.
I will do. Just give me a second. The book is by Jean-Luc Istin. Jean-Luc, and last name is Istin. So I highly recommend anyone check it out. The art is by Judus Milan. Okay, it's French. Okay, the book is about French people, man. I feel bad because I'm Haitian.
Yeah,
I should
just
be able
don't
to pronounce
butcher it
these.
though. Yeah.
Yo, I should be able to pronounce these things, but I'm like, this
something.
dude's throwing me like 5 continents in a row. I'm like, come on, man, help me help you. You know?
Give me a U.
Yeah,
Buy a vowel.
but
Chinua
it's-
Achebe.
Android's Resurrection by Jean-Luc Estin. And I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful book. It's a good story about a futuristic society. Very interesting turn to take, and I won't ruin anything for you. But the plot is solid. And also the concept of blue pills saving the future, kind of just amuse the hell out of me.
Pills save the free. Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
But I'm not the only one that got to check out something cool. Adam Willis. This
Yes.
man got to see the latest project by Casey Affleck himself, Boston's Own.
Yeah, man. Manchester by the Sea. This was probably one of the better movies I've seen in years.
Okay.
It's easily the best movie I've seen this year, and if I see something better, I will be, very surprised. But by all means, bring it on. It's funny because it's a movie I can talk about for days, but I don't want to spoil too much of it, and it's good to go in, knowing a little bit about it, but like let the movie kind of reveal itself to you.
Just give us a taste. Man.
Yeah, of course. The plot basically.
Adam Willis says the first taste is free.
Affleck he's a janitor basically in Quincy. He runs like a couple buildings. He's kind of the handyman around there. And then he gets a call that his brother Joe has passed away. And you find out that Joe has a heart condition that only gave him about 10 to 15 years to live when he was diagnosed. And so upon getting the call, he returns back to Manchester, where he's from, and he's now forced to kind of settle the business of his brother's death, and then he finds out that he has been made the guardian of his nephew, his 16-year-old nephew, that his brother left behind. So,
How do you leave a son in a will?
well, it's because it has no. He was a single father, and it kind of leaves the guardianship up. He wants, his brother to be the one that look after him. You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, I inherited him, but it's like, here, you can be your responsibility now.
Damn.
Yeah, so this is directed by Kenneth Lonergan. He's such a fantastic director. He kind of came out on the scene in the 90s with You Can Count on Me. And then he did this movie called Margaret, which is, it took 6 years for this movie to come out because the studio sat on it, and then they released this butchered copy of this movie. And it was like absolutely, devastating for him. He's a, playwright turned director. And in this movie, it's so intense, but very, not like in a grandstanding way, very subtle. It's about these quiet moments when you're dealing with devastation. It's like what do you do with your hands while you're waiting for them to unzip the bag to look at your dead brother. It's about like that awkward um, elevator ride down to the morgue, you know what I mean, between you and the doctor, and what you say and mostly what you don't say. The performances in this movie are so fantastic. It's basically a ghost story, but with a man who's still alive. You know what I mean? It's about sometimes things are so devastating, and I'm not just talking about the brother's death, but just the life in general. What drove him out of Manchester? You come to find out, and that's one of the pleasures of the film. But it's about a ghost story about some things are so devastating and so tragic that you can't come back from it. I'd like to say that every movie wraps up in some very happy way, and everything kind of works out in the end, and he becomes this like stand-in for his father. But that's not the way life is. Sometimes you can't get over things. Sometimes you're just so.
Just have like a throw you a curve where it's like you find out back in Manchester this dude was like a struggling rapper.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, no, not. I mean, you do find out about him, and it's just one very heavy, emotional crisis after the other, and it's just like a broken, beaten down man trying to get on with his life. And what's unique about his situation now with going back and dealing with his brother's death is he's forced to deal with the future, and he can't escape his past. You know what I'm saying? Like he has to kind of set things up because now he's in charge with a life, and he has to deal with the people that he's ran from in the first place. So he's forced to like do stuff for the future, but like he's so broken down by what has happened to him that like he's just a shell of himself, and it is, but it's peppered every once in a while with like really. It's very funny in a way, like you know what I mean. You say like
Nothing
the way
you just said alludes to
no,
funny.
but I'm gonna tell you what's funny about it. It's like I said, it's peppered with like these what you say in these devastating moments and how you get on with them, and it's just like it's a New England movie. It's sometimes how when you express your feelings for somebody, you do it with like swearing at them, opposed to like it's a movie full of people that you see at the supermarket. You know what I mean? It's like every actor is somebody that you can recognize. They get the accents down. They they look like someone you know. They act like people you know. And like when these moments come up, these devastating moments or these happy moments, it's not like they don't oversell it. You know what I mean? It's not like there's no grandstanding. Like I said, there's not anybody on a soapbox, and it's very subtle. It's a very humbling movie, and it's like I said, it's probably the best movie I've seen in years. Absolutely.
Cool. I heard this may have been up for an Oscar. Like it's that.
It should be. It's 100%, man. This movie is great. The performances are fantastic. Casey Affleck, Michelle Williams, Kyle Chandler, the new kid Lucas Hedges. I think this is his first film. I think he was cast in the movie when he was in high school. He plays the 16-year-old son, of course. But yeah, it's about people the way you cope. Sometimes the way you don't cope. It's everyone can have something in this movie they can relate to. You know what I mean? So I really hope people check it out, and I really hope you feel something because it's a great movie.
I'm with that. I like it. Manchester by the Sea.
Manchester by the Sea. Yes.
Kenneth Lonergan. And starring.
Nope. Yeah. Well, Casey Affleck is. I think. What's it? Who's Jason Bourne there? He's the he's the producer. Matt Damon produced it, and Kenneth Lonergan wrote and directed this movie. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think the story was Matt Damon wanted to star in this movie, and what's going around is like Kenneth Lonergan wrote it. He liked it so much that Casey Affleck was like, I really need to do this movie, so they kind of made it without them knowing. And then after it was made, they're like, yeah, sorry, guy.
He's there so they can throw the Affleck Damon name up there, and they're like, oh, really? Ben Affleck working with Matt Damon?
Wrong Affleck.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and buy that ticket, and then we'll finish that statement.
Yeah, right.
All right.
I mean, Damon's doing all the press for it, though, from what I see.
Yep.
Damon's doing a lot of press for it.
Yeah, he's been out there for sure. I mean, he's definitely pushing it. Like he is really behind this movie because he should be. It's great. It really is.
All right. Manchester by the Sea. It's like a seafood restaurant. All right. I'm gonna go see you with some popcorn shrimp.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, thank you. And Jay.
Yes.
You got to check out a book, The Swerve.
Yes, or Swerve.
Just Swerve.
Just Swerve.
All right.
So this actually came out a couple years ago, but the reason why it's relevant is because they just recently dropped about a trade copy of this with all 6 issues in it, and it's relevant because it's pro wrestling. And pro wrestling's on a high now in terms of everybody tuning in and watching and trying to figure out all the stuff in between. So
Yeah, Melissa Joan Hart all over the stuff.
Melissa Joan Hart, you're a mess. Read a
Hey,
quick
no,
blurb.
hey, look, Clarissa's
Woo,
man.
she was
Yeah.
fine back in the day, boy. But let's get back to the topic of pro wrestling. All right, so little blurb. Set in San Antonio, Texas, way back in 1976, before the big razzle-dazzle days of the WWF in the 1980s, a crime syndicate has set up shop using the league as a front to launder drugs and prostitution money, with some of their toughest enforcers doubling as star wrestlers. Enter our hero, Eric Layton, an ex-football player with a bum knee turned college dropout who's desperate for cash for his cancer-stricken mother. With the promise of more cash dangling in front of him, he quickly discovers that the real money in his line of work is to get mixed in with the shadier aspects of the league. So this is written by John Judy and Dexter Wee. Wee's really known for doing a lot of artistry, a lot of the drawing. However, he's actually part of the concept of this. And ultimately, this was written as a means to try to jump off the platform of The Wrestler, off Beyond the Mat, and those sort of movies to say, hey, we could take the story of what happens in pro wrestling and place it in graphic novel form or comic form, ultimately graphic novel form. And it did a great job because it does go behind the scenes of what the indie scene looked like in the 70s, especially down in Texas. So it opens up describing what a swerve is. So the scene, I'll tell you the first part of the first episode or edition, and for you to then turn around and go see it yourself, because I mean it's a great piece. It opens up with a guy with the hood on his head, ultimately with thugs around him, and the major promoter holding him hostage, trying to explain to him what a swerve is. And I'm just going to tell you what a swerve is based upon his description. So he highlights, for those of you who tune in, you should know, if you're a pro wrestling fan, what a swerve is. For those of you who are still new to it,
That's
I'll
everything
explain to you.
Rick Rude's signature move. You know, it's all in the hips.
Yeah.
How about that swerve? Also known as the swivel.
with
looking
the picture of your lady on his pants, which is adding insult to injury. Rude was the man. R.I.P. Rude. So he highlights this tag team, right? And it's funny is because you can see this playing now currently in WWE. They have this tag team, a good guy and a bad guy who were forced to be put together this tag team. And they're constantly fighting, and you figure, okay, at some point they're going to fail. For some reason, they get a tag team title match. You figure it, they're going to fail because these guys can't even get along in the ring. First swerve, they win the belts. You're like, oh, wow, did not see that coming. That's the first swerve. Second swerve, as they're holding up the belts and celebrating, one guy hits the other guy in the face and turns on him with the belt.
Yeah.
Second swerve. Third swerve, the good guy does it. So it's like that's what the swerves are. It's like these things that you know that something's going to give, but it goes the complete opposite direction of what you expected it to give. So ultimately, that's ultimately how the book lays out. So he has the gun to this guy's head. Just explaining to him, I run this territory. This young buck wants to come in here, try to undercut me by taking control of all the actual facilities where I run my business out of. So the swerve that I did to you, punk kid, was that I befriended you and took you in, ultimately just to stick you up to take it. And the guy got the hood on his head, was like, yeah, I know exactly what a swerve is. Ironically enough, I just swerved you. And next you know, all the guys who are thugs points the guns at the guys who hold the main promoter guy, saying, I'm swerving you because you have not paid these guys, you have not taken care of these guys at all. So it's really interesting how the book opens up with this definition of what a swerve is.
See, that's kind of scary though, because from that description and then that turnaround, what I get is like the old wrestling, the old comics in general, trope of we're gonna take characters who would never be in this situation and put them in this situation. That sounds like mafia henchman turning on the boss, except in this situation for no reason at all. He's in a hood and like wrestling trunks. You know what I'm saying? And all these henchmen who wouldn't normally be, following a dude who's just in a hood and trunks out in like the day-to-day world, because that would seem like a crazy person.
No, what I mean like a hooded trucks, I mean like they kidnapped him and threw a hood in his head.
Okay, all right.
He's in a warehouse with a hood on his head because they just kidnapped this guy.
Okay, all right, because I was getting a very corny image
Nah.
of like, now we gotta rescue the Claw.
No. This is all the behind the scenes stuff. This is even independent of the lead character here.
Okay.
So this is just the promoters going up against the young kid who took over his business.
All right. So what I'm hearing is like kidnapping and racketeering. It sounds just like the biography of Vince McMahon. That's what
in some ways it really could.
Pretty much.
It's one of those art imitates life sort of thing. So it's interesting. I mean, it opens up with the scene where this young buck gets his first match and he gets beat up pretty bad. They stiff punch him. so he's really getting hit in the match. So it's interesting because it just shows you the trajectory of a young wrestler starting out. That it's not all glamorous, it's not all beautiful and pretty. There are times when you just got to eat it. You got to eat a veteran beating you up. You got to eat not getting paid because he's thinking, hey, I'm going to get paid today. It's like, no, you're not. All you do is cut a promo. You're not getting paid. So it's that sort of thing. Overall, it's a great piece of work. If you like the graphics are gorgeous. They're beautiful. And if you just like pro wrestling and you can't get enough of it, or you just want an intro to pro wrestling, I strongly suggest checking out this comic. It's on Comixology. You can check it out at Newberry Comics or any other comic book realtors. They have it there in a trade paperback format, so it's easier for you to be able to carry. I strongly suggest it's a winner. If you are a pro wrestling fan, get this.
All right, cool.
Swerve.
Check out Swerve.
Sounds like lean or something like that. Something you drinking something.
Perhaps some of these
Try
guys
that
are
Swerve,
on lean.
yeah.
See, I keep thinking swirl when you say it, and I'm like, yo, I kind of want to, hit up a Frosty from Wendy's. All right, okay, but no, that is not all. Adam, you got to check out yet another picture.
Yeah.
Now this one I've heard a lot about. I kind of want to get your expert opinion.
Yeah, the
on
movie Loving, writer-director Jeff Nichols. Jeff Nichols, I reviewed one of his films that came out this year already called Midnight Special. That happened. He's also the director of movies Mud and one of my favorites, Take Shelter. They all kind of star Michael Shannon. He's a good freaking collaborator with him. So, yeah, it stars Ruth Negga, Joel Edgerton, Nick
She's
Kroll.
up there with Ambi Davidson.
Yep. So this follows Mildred and Richard Loving. This is a story set in 1950s Virginia, where it's an interracial couple. They are from Virginia and they get married in D.C. because it's illegal. And then somebody says something and the cops all of a sudden show up and they put her in jail. They put them both in jail. He makes bail and then they basically are told not to be around each other. That it's illegal. That they can't do it. So
this
they
tripped me up because that wasn't illegal to give them to basically make their relationship, which was recognized in other states.
Yeah.
Not
in
Virginia, right?
Not in Virginia, yeah. So they go back to Virginia and resume, living with each other. I think she was just found out she was pregnant. He wants to build this house for her, so they're going to start doing that. They're going to start their life. They just got married. They're happy people. And then
you not live in sin, you're going to jail.
Yeah, so they got caught again, and then they were brought in front of the judge, and the way the lawyer said, he's like, this is the only thing I can do. This is the best way I can work it out is that you plead guilty, and then instead of doing jail time, you are just going to be forced to leave the state of Virginia for 25 years. So they're forced. So they move up to D.C. and stay with some family and everything like that, and then they start their life there, even though they're very unhappy. They have 3 or 4 or 5 kids or something like that. So 5 or 6 years goes by, and then she decides to write a letter to Bobby Kennedy at the time, and she gets a phone call from the ACLU, and they want to take on her case, and then the lawyers, one played by Nick Kroll, like I said, he plays Bernie Cohen. He decides to take the case, and he really sees this from the get-go. This is something that we could take in front of the Supreme Court. This could potentially change the Constitution of the United States of America to abolish this really ridiculous law. And they decide that every marriage is, a constitutional right. It's your right to be married no matter what. So I think the argument against it was the children. It's like they consider these interracial children bastards, and it's this very a reminder how dark stuff was sometimes, in the 50s, how horrible it was.
Level stuff. And they're talking about they introduced children in the story.
Yeah.
And all this was like, it's not a traditional story. From my understanding, I didn't see the movie, but it's not a traditional. But you did. It's not a traditional story of just racism in a society.
No, and that's because I wasn't really up for that either. It's no one coming out like you're of this, It's people like screaming and they have to deal with violence and stuff like that. It was just a systemic thing. Like this wasn't allowed, and they at first went along with it because they're very simple people. They're like country folks who just didn't want to. They didn't want to be. One of the themes of it is Joel Edgerton is character. He doesn't want to be in front of the camera. He's really just a shy guy, just wants to go to work, do his job, love his wife. And so like all this is like all the cameras and all the attention they started getting from it when they decided to take the case serious came as a big shock to them. Some of it, the good thing they did in the film was the way they kind of film it. And when they actually moved to DC. They kind of narrow the scope of it, and they kind of do these really tighter shots. It's kind of more of like a gray lens filter, you know what I mean, to show kind of like how everything's confined and claustrophobic. It's like the way they get, and then the way they get back out to Virginia, the country is like these wide angle shots of like the countryside, and it's all full of color. It's very beautiful.
Tourism ad for Virginia.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's just showing
with racism.
Yeah. So it's like they
gotta get that money somehow.
They really wanted to go back to the country. That's where the family were, and they wanted to raise their kids there. I think raising 5 kids in a small house, and the kids could play in the street. One of them gets hit by a car, doesn't kill him, but he, it's like they just can't be the people they want to raise the family like. So
Wait, was this was part of the plot as like an act of hate that they hit?
No, it wasn't hit. Like the kid was running out to the street and got hit by a car, and it was just showing that was one of the final straws for Mildred. To be like, we need to get out of it. We need to go to the country. We need, like, our kids need to be able to run in the grass. There's no place for them to play.
Oh, so that was in D.C. when he got hit.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Just because it was, like I said, it was like confined, and like it was like all part of that claustrophobic feel.
In my head, I was like, come to Virginia. We have wide open spaces and hit and runs.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this was
like airborne children.
This was another one of those movies. Like it's dealing with some really big issues, some really big things. Obviously, this changed the Constitution because when they won. But it doesn't really treat it that way. There's no big speeches. There's no. I think it's just a very straightforward. It tells it in a very simple way, which is really good. You know what I mean? It's not like one of those like Oscar bait movies where there's like a big speech and there's drool and snot and tears and stuff like that. It's just,
I kind of feel like that'd be a detriment not taking that opportunity because this is definitely that kind of story.
Yeah, but it would have disserviced the story absolutely. You know what I mean? I think because you understand these people like Mildred and Richard Loving. They're like simple country people that didn't want any business. They're not the ones that are going to stand in front of a jury and make a giant speech about whatever. He's like, I just love my wife. Just tell him I'll just like he didn't want to even go to court. He's like, just tell him we won't do anything wrong. Like tell him we'll mind our own business, and that's what it was all about.
And I mean that's one of the things that actually scares me about seeing the movie, specifically because of that, because it's so emotional. You come in at a level of like, hey, I love my wife too, and immediately you're brought in based purely on emotion.
Yeah.
And that's the part that it'll be hard for me to see it. I know at some point I will see it because I know it's a beautiful story. But I know it's gonna unlock something that's deep in me to be able to see that this man is struggling, and these people who actually just want to beat each other, they just love each other. It's simple folk.
Well, the good thing is, I mean, they didn't. It's like not that they brought them apart, you know what I mean? It was trying to, but it's like these people just moved and they were still together, and it was just like we still. What's missing is like being able to live our lives freely where we want to be. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you can be, but you have to like imagine like, hey, you can be friends with that person. We just gotta live in this state against your will. It's ridiculous. 25 years you have to be out of your home state where you grew up your entire life, where you know everybody, just because you got married. It's a pretty ridiculous thing. So yeah, this was obviously a movie that kind of had that message where like just. Highlighting how ridiculous it was and like the struggle to get it there. I mean, it almost didn't happen, but then a couple of smart lawyers really saw the opportunity to like I said, they knew from the beginning. They didn't take it just because like it was being the ACLU that it was like a just cause, even though of course it was. But they're like, this is really could be the case from the beginning to go in front of the Supreme Court to argue this in front of the Supreme Court to abolish this law. They saw it as historic right from the beginning, and so that's why they pursued it so hard. And it's a very interesting story, and I'm glad I saw it. And yeah, it was great performance as well. Joel Edgerton, Ruth Negga was doing a lot of stuff. She was been in the show Preacher now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she's Preacher.
Most recently on Preacher, she was Tulip. She was on Agents of Shield for a while.
Yeah, she's
she's
doing big stuff now too. So
That's
awesome.
awesome.
And Nick Kroll, of course, in a non-comedic role, he's kind of plays this.
That's
this
what
Jewish
him
lawyer.
said
Really,
that threw me for a second.
You said Nick Kroll's like hold the same.
Yeah. He plays it straight, but it's good. Michael Shannon is of course in this too. He plays like a Life magazine photographer. Who
Michael
takes
Shannon in a non-psychotic role?
Yeah, exactly. He could do anything. I think he could play the shark in Jaws, that guy. So yeah, this was another one of the great movies. It's playing at Coolidge, playing all over right now. So if you get a chance, definitely check it out.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
I would say see Manchester by the Sea first, to be honest with you. So
Manchester and then Loving.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know, whatever.
Go,
I don't
find someone to give a hug to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like those.
Yeah, some of these like back-to-back days is like I need to take a break.
You do took a break in between, right?
We're gonna go watch Son-in-Law or something.
Adam just had the saddest Saturday ever.
I'm gonna watch Son-in-Law or some Pauly Shore crap. That's what I need.
Well, I mean, if anything's gonna be snubbed for the Oscar.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Eso.
All right. No, I think that's as much as I could take. This has been the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. I want to thank you all for listening in. Another action-packed, not necessarily fun-filled episode, but definitely one that'll teach you something. I've been Pat B. On the side, I want to give a pound to my homeboy, Black Adam Willis.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, I want to thank JM the Philip Priest.
Peace.
And Just Johnny.
You.
And, of course, DJ Herbie Herb. And last but not least, you lovely listeners and viewers. If you were watching us, you can catch us on. If you're watching us, you saw us on Twitch in our lovely faces. If you didn't, however, you can catch us on twitch.tv/thegeekdown next week or in any other of the media formats because we're all over the place on SoundCloud/Geekdown, on iTunes, just look up Geek Down, on YouTube/thegeekdown. Sorry, I get winded. There's a lot. But Instagram/the Geek Down. You want to see our lovely pictures and our escapades all over the sucker. And if you go to WEMFradio.com and check out the Geek Down show page, on the bio there's links to all the social media, so you can check us out for yourself. And as always, you can hear us right here on WEMFradio.com every Monday night at 9 p.m. We'll be back next week to bring you more of the good stuff. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, you all be excellent to each other. Peace.